What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Offseason Swolecast here on RotoGrinders.com. I'm David Kitchen, joined by Mr. Tuttle 05, joined by Davis Maddock, and joined by Peter Overset. Peter, how
You're
you feeling?
struggling with my name there at the end. It was all like you forgot about me.
No. You had your face like you were blowing a bubble or something. I didn't know what that was. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in a little bit of rough shape this morning. Had things got away from me last night. Normally don't do that kind of behavior on a school night, but you got to show up. You got to punch in. No days off, and here we are.
So take us through like what happened last night. You were on a stream with Pat and Davis.
Yeah, so we were doing a draft, and there was this guy who started his draft with 7 or 8 straight non-wide receiver picks, which is, fairly unorthodox. And I was like, okay, if he doesn't draft a wide receiver here, I'll take a shot. And, just thinking he was, ready to start drafting wide receivers. Well, he proceeded to not draft wide receivers for 5 more rounds. And once you establish a drinking game like that, you can't bail on it. And next thing you know, we're 3 sheets to the wind on a Wednesday night.
I wonder how many leagues have this where there is like a decided advantage to people that are drafting sober. Like, I wonder if like there would ever be like any data, because I've been a part of some drafts where there are people that get they're in rough shape too by the end of it, and they're making picks that are just out of nowhere. So it has to be plus EV to be drafting sober.
Well, luckily, Peter had Pat and I there as his designated drafters. He was sitting there trying to get us to draft Gardner Minshew, and we were just having to be like, "Look, bro, we don't need to do that."
But to your point, Dave, like when we've gone out and done the FFPC drafts, I always want to be in the afternoon or early evening ones because people are sober in the morning, but they'll be by the pool drinking all day and then going to do the drafts in the afternoon. And those are the drafts you want to be in.
No, it's a sad advantage, but it is an advantage. Pete, I want to stick with you since you are the hot topic this week. There was an image that came out this week from Underdog on the Underdog Fantasy app, the best ball, where they've got the $1 million tournament, and they listed a thank you to all the people that had invested into Underdog, and your picture, or your name was on that picture. I mean, yeah. Do you want to comment publicly on this?
Honestly, I feel bad for Cuban and Delvedova and, all the heavy hitters who they're just waiting to get mentioned. Like, everyone's going to be so stoked I'm backing it. It's just people tagging me over and over and over. Sorry, Schefter. The only investor that these guys care about is the deposit king.
Sorry, Jeff Epstein.
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein made it on there. I was right next to my pal, Kevin Adams. I mean, it was just a great reveal. So yeah, just happy to be here,
Did you know when you made that big investment into Underdog that your name would be out there eventually as one of the sharp investors?
So I have a marketing deal with Underdog. I'm going to be doing streams for them. I did not know that I was going to end up on a poster. I thought me drafting on the Underdog platform was going to be the extent of our relationship.
So really, they sweetened the deal for you.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
sweeten the pot.
So they, I am a little upset about my font size. Ultimately, I feel like I've earned, being in the kind of CSU Ram territory.
Yeah, I agree.
You were like in the 10 range. CSU Ram was like in the 16 to 18. Cuban was like past the 72 font. He was like in the, the 100.
But really, I mean, Kitchen, your name should have been on there just as the person who popularized the concept of best ball fantasy football.
I don't want to get it twisted, Davis, because you mentioned this before. It's not that I popularized the concept of best ball. It is the best ball dynasty superflex premium.
You see how I could get confused.
Well, it's like best ball with dynasty. Like, dynasty used to be very hands-on, and my idea was, hey, let's make it not as hands-on. So
well, it's a beautiful idea, Kitch.
Don't worry, my screenshots is coming. And speaking of screenshots, we've got a hot topic in DFS this week because with the return of sports has brought the return of the screenshot. Tuttle, I want to get your take on this because some people are just absolutely burned out on the screenshots. Some people, it's just become a hot button topic, and I want to know where you are on this topic.
So personally, I'm not a fan of sending out screenshots, but it's a proven marketing technique at this point. Like it gets clicks, it gets subs, so you can't hate it from a business perspective. I will say, ideally, you can cut back on like the double when like somebody wins a double up or something like that. Like I think we can cut back on those ones.
Yeah,
but big scores, why not?
All
right, so let's
establish. Hang on,
let's establish a minimum threshold. Let's go around the block and let's establish a minimum threshold for like what is the minimum amount you would need to win for a screenshot, and what is the minimum 10x?
I think
5x?
Yeah, 10x is probably
5x.
the good number. Yeah, 5x or 10x.
I think 5x is too low personally.
It's got to be a high amount of money if it's 5x.
That's like a quadruple up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like whatever.
But this is what really steams my beans. When someone has $5,000 in entry fees and they win $25,000, they scrub the $5,000 off the screenshot and say $25,000. So not only is it a 5x, but they're actually trying to hide from the fact that it's a 5x, because to the majority of the population, 25,000 is impressive, but a 5x isn't impressive.
It's disingenuous touting is what it is.
It's disingenuous touting.
That said, I still will join the movement because I want 25,000.
All right. So what's your minimum threshold, Pete?
I think a 10x, and I think you have to pick your spots, right? Like you can't just be doing it week after week.
Yeah, you can't be doing it willy-nilly. That's a great point, Pete. The screenshot means more when there's like 4 of them a year as opposed to like 1 every week.
Well, here's the thing. When you keep doing it consistently and then you don't do it for a while, people know you're losing.
We call that there's a couple guys in the DFS space.
There's a couple guys.
I don't want to
say the names.
I was going to throw someone under the bus, but I'm not going to do it because I'm a good friend.
Let's
see if Kitchen will say it. Let's see if we can get Kitchen to say it.
No, I'm not.
Kitchen, if you had to name one guy in DFS who used to do a lot of screenshots,
all right,
and now maybe not so many.
All right, I don't want to throw anyone.
There's a layup here.
But the guy that started
he's outside your house right now with a basketball.
The guy that started it was Tommy G, and this was at a point in the industry. Tommy G Patriot, so you can find him on.
Doesn't he have another Twitter account?
Return of
the Jedi or something like that.
Oh my! You guys are joking.
No,
don't I'm not give it away.
Big T tweeted it. Or sent out a tweet with the Bruce Arians .gif.
Oh boy. Well, as far as like back then, everyone was like, "Oh, I can't believe sending out screenshots. That's like private info." Like I felt like the industry was a little bit too, I don't know, like uptight about it. And
we were too uptight with Fantasy Insiders.
Yeah, like we don't want to brag. And Tommy's like, I'm bragging to everybody, and everybody else is like, I'm joining the Tommy G Patriot movement. And like that's kind of how Guru Elite like took off. But then sometimes those screenshots dry up, and you move to women's college basketball in March betting.
Return of the Jedi account suspended, by the way.
Wow, the return was short-lived.
Did some quick research. He got that account up to, when I checked, this was like half a week ago. He was already up to like 50K followers on it.
On Return of the Jedi account?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
it's unbelievable.
I need to get in a new line of work.
Yeah, you need to get in the QAnon game, man.
Here's the other thing, back to the screenshots. How about this as a rule? Even though I said that I didn't like the high volume ones, you should be locked into having to do a screenshot a week, irregardless of your results. because that's the thing. They're cherry picking, right? But if you just said once a week, I get to do one screenshot, but you're also forced to do a screenshot, then we get to see one of the bad nights.
Except the thing is, it's kind of baller to lose a lot of money, though.
If it's so baller, then why is everyone afraid to show it repeatedly?
Well, and then it's the move now is to do the big losses, but say you won. So it's the joke,
it's this
I profited
joke that
$500.
This gang of guys who are now in the Corona poker Discord, they like had this joke of like profiting because I don't know, they got in some war with some, like, again, this is just so inside baseball as far as DFS Twitter goes. Yeah. But now the move is like, oh, I entered $1,700 in this slate and I cashed one. So $6-7 profit for me or whatever.
Yeah. There's also the different, it's so interesting to see the different personalities, how they play with the screenshots. So
the early screenshots.
What's that?
Early screenshots?
Well, there's early screenshots, but even after you win, you've got some people like, yeah, giblets, join the movement, and just like retweeting and quote tweeting everyone else. And then there's like my favorite, which is the humble dink. And that is the blessed to be doing this.
Hashtag blessed.
Blessed to be doing this, doing what I love right now, and hopefully making everyone else a little bit of money. And oh, by the way, here's $100,000 that I won tonight.
Here's the other thing about screenshots. As a shout out to the RG testimonials one, those are actually users who subscribe and who have won. That's what people care about as the market tool. Can I be that person who wins? If I just see the top guys winning over and over, I'm like, that's great for you. You're way better at DFS for me. I need to be shown that you can teach someone else to win, and that could be me. So like when I see someone who's a top player winning over and over, that doesn't do it for me, because I'm like, yeah, you're on a different level. You got to help the little guys out.
And along those lines, it is a little disingenuous when you get the high stakes guys that do it over and over, and they took down like an 8-person contest.
Oh,
kind of like we said.
The Empire Maker, like, I've won $1 million in entry fees. I won 56% of my games, but that translates to a $200,000 score.
Right. And everybody sees the 200K and they're like, oh my God. I want to be able to do that.
I mean, the Blake screenshots to me are the most baller, if I got to be real about it.
Those are baller in its
Those
own.
are the most baller.
That's different. And he's not selling a product. Those are.
Yeah, he's just trying to flex on poor people. That's all Blake cares about.
It's the ones that are like the second 3-ball of the day or the fifth 3-ball tournament that went off a $300 5-person GPP, and they send the screenshots on those. Those are.
Well, and also
I could do without those.
That's the Vegas Dave model too, right? Where you just bet massive money line favorites and you bet them all, and then you get a screenshots from a few, and you just hopefully are floating above 50% with your actual win rate, but you have the big thing. So it's like, if you're ripping off of Vegas Dave's marketing ploy, then maybe you need to take a long hard look in the mirror.
I'm gonna start screenshotting
How do I do it?
My fourth quarter FanDuel single game MVP challenge.
I think a great idea for you would be to screenshot like your DraftKings screen or your FanDuel screen like 6 minutes before, showing you haven't entered in any games, and then you clicking the +1 button and get like, that's the Soccer Dave move, is entering into a slate 6 minutes before it
last second.
By the way, this is the one type of screenshots that, because this is Drew. I mean, you look at his profile picture, that is Drew. Like, that matches. He screenshots a picture of $100,000, and he said, "Been incredibly busy. Restart for me, starting with." I'm not going to give him free pub on this site, but the site that he's with now, with the launch. Grateful to get a lot right today.
That's so dig.
Now here's $30 to $30,000 to poor kids in Africa.
It's literally
so you have to root for him.
It's unimpeachable. Yeah, that's the thing. It's unimpeachable.
Right.
Yeah. You have to cheer for the guy. He's a good guy.
It's like when people make an announcement on Twitter that they're joining a new site, and they go, "I'm humbled and honored to join." We're like, you're not humbled. You're fucking bragging about it on Twitter right now. There's nothing humbling about it.
Oh. Speaking of Vegas Dave and Cash Out King, I heard Cash Out King deleted his account. I actually had to stop. I had to stop following him.
Someone told me he deleted his account, so I did a little tweet about it, and then about 2 hours later, he was back in my mentions. So he wasn't gone for too long.
So he didn't actually delete it, or it didn't last very long.
I went the other way with Tuttle. Like when you were getting into following him, I was like, this is just way too much. And now I'm back in because he is just on an epic meltdown. I mean, just really
is he just losing bets left and right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's just flat broke.
All right, let's get into some topics related.
Oh, come on! You don't want to go. You don't want to go 45 more minutes of inside DFS Twitter.
No. Let's get into best ball Twitter. Much better place to be. We've got DraftKings releasing best ball as well. So now we have DraftKings. We have Underdog. Both mobile applications that if you're using the restroom for an extended period of time, you can make drafts. They've got slow drafts and fast drafts. I will say, shout out to Underdog because their interface is just
so much better.
It's so good,
so
man.
much better.
I haven't done either yet.
It's so good to like. I don't know, and maybe the fact that I'm just used to it, but DraftKings I feel like still has a little work to do as far as easily drafting and seeing your screen and that sort of thing.
Well, the issue with the DraftKings app is, I mean, just like if it's a Thursday through Sunday and you're playing NBA and you're playing MLB, the app is like so slow and is always trying to load something and always trying to refresh something. It's like it takes you a minute to get in to go make your pick.
Well, yeah, I haven't had any issues.
Kitchen doesn't have that problem.
I haven't had any issues with like my golf lineups. I will say that it being in the, I accidentally entered like right when it came out. I entered one of the best ball slow drafts, and there was a mission for that day, and the mission was like play over $20, for whatever. Well, so it now is like pending. This mission's pending until the season.
That's it is. No. It's the worst. It's one of the worst when you do that on accident. Like,
can you email support?
No, it's just like I just didn't get it for that day. So now I can still do it for other missions. But I'm always going to have that mission on there. It
just sits there. Yeah, it sucks.
The other thing about those, TJ Hernandez did a tweet where he was looking at the payout structures in the rake for those. In the DK $3 one, I mean, that's a fun price point because you can just fire those off as much as you want.
It's only 20 max though.
It's 20 max, but so it's 14.3% rake on that one. The Underdog, the more expensive $25 price point, 7.4% rake, which for the industry standards we're used to in DFS, that is not a bad rake.
So here's the thing: does Underdog? They don't have head-to-heads or anything posted yet, do they?
I think they have some of the 3-balls and some other individual leagues, but
the problem back in the day when it was draft is that was true for the big tournament, but then if you wanted to like play on their site, their head-to-heads were raked like crazy compared to DraftKings, which was insane to me because I wanted to play a little bit on their site, but their head-to-heads there had like 15% rake.
No,
so it'd be interesting to see if they have that.
I will say since we're evaluating both and comparing and contrasting, and Pete, I don't want to put you in a bad spot since you are one of the original investors in Underdog Fantasy. So as far as the I do like on DraftKings, you can see the entrance. So
I like that on DraftKings, everyone's terrible at seasonal fantasy football. That is a big plus.
So like I was able to check on one of the first best ball tournaments, and I saw like you can see like a bunch of no namers and no badgers and other guys like the Siege. And I'm like, oh man, I want to be in a draft with the Siege.
Soccer
right
Dave likes to bum hunt with his $3 best ball turns.
This was the 20. This was the 20.
This is a fairly sharp take from Davis here. Like anybody who has Underdog downloaded on their phone right now
is good.
Is there for that specific game. That's the only reason they have their phone or the app on their phone.
And last year, I remember, and I assume they'll get up to this, but Draft was refreshing their ADP constantly to where it was so efficient and so sharp, where right now the DraftKings ones, and maybe it'll get better as they update it too, but you could get some insane value.
Yeah, it's like ADP from like their office draft or something. Like Jordan Bloom sitting there taking Todd Gurley in the second round is the one setting the ADP.
So the other difference is like FanDuel scoring versus DraftKings scoring, half point PPR versus full point per reception. And you've got some of
not only that, the bonuses, bro.
Yeah. And you have some of these, I'd say like zero RB just works so much better right now for me on the DraftKings app because you can get these pass catching running backs really late. Like I got Dare in the last round on DraftKings and not, I mean,
what is this guy talking about?
Destroyed your brand, a Dare pick?
Mr.
Long Vaughn taking Dare?
18th.
Oh my goodness.
This sounds this sounds like a bit to me.
Yeah, I mean, Dare Ogunbowale has already in his career been cut 4 times by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't really think it's going to break their heart to do it for a 5th time.
All right. So anyways, Davis, the purpose is to get some sort of pass catching running back in late. I mean, you could pick Deion Lewis if you wanted to, but some reserve running back that you know is going to catch passes.
Okay, legit or a bit, we should have Kitchen name all his 0 RB targets and see if Peter and I have selected them once this offseason.
I mean, we could
give me some other guys you're really liking in that 17th, 18th, 19th round.
Well, we don't have 19th round on the Underdog, but we do have them in DraftKings. So I will say, I'll need to take a look at it. I've been trying to get DeAndre Washington in the 12th to 14th rounds.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, if he's there, sometimes he's going a little bit.
I mean, he probably should be going. Like, it's not going to surprise me if by September 1st he goes in the 8th round.
Tony Pollard is probably my biggest. Tony Pollard and Madison are probably the ones I have the most exposure to as far as like late round.
Wow, Kitchen coming with the good picks.
Well, we've already talked about this. By the way, we didn't get to like guess who actually is probably my top 2 guys as far as stacks go on Underdog right now. You guys missed it last week. Cam Newton.
And
N'Keal Harry.
Okay.
That's
all right.
good.
You're back in my good.
Yeah,
if you said Julian, I would have been.
No. I've got I think I have more N'Keal Harry than AJ Brown.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I mean, you should. The cheaper a player gets, the more, if you like them, the more you should be drafting them.
Sure. But I still am drafting AJ Brown in the 3rd all day. Just give me all that.
You know, if you started grinding some of these FFPC drafts, you can get him in the 4th sometimes because people are so RB hungry, bro. Oh my gosh. Try manage team with Kitchen and Crane and Overzet.
I don't know. The last time we drafted together, we came out looking pretty good with the Swolecast.
I mean, we just gave you what you wanted on every pick.
No, I think it was you getting outvoted, Dave.
Yeah, that Keyshawn Vaughn pick's looking pretty good now.
Dave, how many season-long teams do you normally play? Like managed
teams? Probably like 7 or 8.
Yeah. It's so fun to draft these football guys but every time I do it, I'm just like,
I'm thinking about the waivers. I don't want to
manage it. Oh my God, the waivers.
I used to do them on RT Sports, and that's back when that was the only site you could really draft online for.
I play on RT Sports,
and then every week you would have to like rename your team, like what your record is, so you could like figure out like.
If you wanted to do waivers or not.
Yeah, who to spend the time on with your guys, because only 4 teams made it to like the playoffs. So anyways, good stuff. Lots of throwback here. Let's talk about Long Gone Vaughn, or So Long Vaughn. What's your I just can't get behind the Rojo love. I can't get behind it. And that doesn't mean that I'm drafting more of Keyshawn Vaughn. It just means I'm staying away from the situation until like I feel good about where Keyshawn is, and that's probably like 11th, 12th round. So Davis, what's your take on Rojo?
She's got take him, dude. Take him in the 6th round. I don't know what other take can there be, bro.
Say
LaShawn
some
McCoy,
stats. At least try. You're a professional fantasy football analyst. You can't just say just take him.
I mean, so last year he was splitting snaps with 2 other dudes and still gained over 1,000 yards. Still had, a relatively decent receiving season, especially because he wasn't really playing third downs at all. He was getting all of his targets on first and second downs, which is a big part of the Bruce Arians offense, and I think something that the shorters are not taking into account. And also, I was writing him up the other day, and I kind of just wanted to look and see were there other first and second round rookie running backs who really didn't play at all as rookies, but were decent in their second year and able to put up, future RB1 seasons. And some of his comps for that are Steven Jackson, CJ Spiller, Julius Jones. So there are guys who have done the Ronald Jones career path and then gone on to post RB1 season. So I feel pretty good about Ronald Jones. And I think that signing LaShawn McCoy is really about just not expecting Keyshawn Vaughn to play in the first month of the season.
Keyshawn Vaughn still on the COVID-19 list. Obviously brought in Shady. You had the video of Dare catching passes yesterday. You got Arian saying, though, that Rojo is the main guy in the Bucs backfield. So as far as where you are, Peter, are you 6th round also for Rojo?
Yeah, I think Rojo in the 6th is fine. I do think, but here's the thing, Dave. I'm actually going to come around on your side a little bit here. I don't think their ADP should be that different. I think Keyshawn should maybe be a couple rounds after Rojo. I just think we're a little too overconfident on how this backfield is going to shake out, and to definitely take advantage of the Keyshawn dip now, because you can get him in the 10th, 11th, and 12th. And I think that's a great price. And that's historically where you want to be buying those rookie running back breakouts. That's where you were getting Chubb. That's where you were getting Kamara.
Yeah.
So those expensive guys, I mean, Vaughn's a bet you want to make. I mean, I'm not confident about it, but at that price, there's not too much risk in taking a step.
Oh, that's sweet. Tuttle, what's your take on the Bucs backfield?
Take LaShawn McCoy in like the 5th round and you're good to go.
No, gosh. All right. Let's talk about some other news. Fins up, everyone, because Preston Williams
on the Swolecast team
is hopefully expected back week 1. And again, I just don't think people are giving much credence to Preston Williams and even Devontae Parker. Like, both their stocks should be up. They're the 2 main guys as far as in that offense. And I think it's going to be fairly concentrated with them and Gesicki. Thoughts, Davis, on that?
Pete and I, in one of our high stakes teams last night, we took Preston Williams, and we didn't really want to do it because it was a Soccer Dave pick. But I mean, the Hearns and Albert Wilson opt-outs are massive for him, because I just I don't really think they could bench him even if they wanted to, basically.
Yeah, I mean, if he's healthy, he's playing. And
I think there's something that I've noticed is happening both with the Chargers and the Dolphins is because there's uncertainty about the quarterback situation. A lot of people think that both of those teams could have one quarterback playing half the season and the rookie playing the other half, that I think you're getting these slight discounts on some of that uncertainty. And I get it to an extent with the Chargers, because there's going to be such a difference in stylistic play between Tyrod and Herbert. But I actually think with the Dolphins, we know Fitzpatrick can move the ball. He is a gunslinger. He'll take chances. And with Tua, an incredibly good prospect, will probably be more efficient, and the offense will be more efficient. So I see positives to either of them at the helm, in the Jameis Winston side with Fitzpatrick, and then, everyone wants to comp Tua as the next Drew Brees. If he steps into that as a hyper efficient passer, the offense is going to be good as well. So I'm not really scared about the continuity at quarterback. And to that point, I do agree. I think Parker, Gesicki, and Preston are all nice values.
So here's the thing. Why would you pick, a grown-ass man like Devontae Parker when you could get a 5'6", 160-pound, 6th-round draft pick on your team?
Team to dream.
Jakeem Grant, baby.
Little double dip there on DraftKings.
Trindon Holiday is his best comparable on Player Profiler.
I remember Trindon Holiday for the Broncos. Really good punt returner.
I'm not actually gonna tout Jakeem Grant, but felt like it was worth bringing his name up. Gary Jennings is the other guy, right?
Yeah,
Gary Jennings and what is a Mac Hollins? So
Mac
Hollins,
Hollins,
Philly
I remember.
last year, right?
Yeah, he did a whole lot of nothing for Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was like he was cut and then acquired later on in the season, like with a few games left. He got one whole target in 4 games with the Dolphins after he was cut. But
He did a lot of special team stuff, right?
He was definitely part of that like the single game showdown slate where you're like, oh, why? When Philadelphia had like 0 wide receivers.
Well, and he would go on. They were actually running him. They were starting him in front of Arcega-Whiteside at the time.
Thank you for putting some respect.
Thank
on
you.
his name.
I love that he did that. That was so special.
All right. As far
Guy
as
listens to Fantasy Mensa.
as far as other news, we got the Raiders that we want to talk about. Davis, where are you on the Raiders? Obviously, they got a whole lot of draft capital in this offense. They pick up Mariota as well, but
that's what you're leading your Raiders offseason moves.
I led with the draft capital.
Raiders big splash this offseason, bringing Mariota.
Wait, hold up. We got Cody in chat telling me to check out the Player Profiler on Kirk Merritt. What is a Kirk Merritt? Have you guys heard of this fellow before?
I've never heard of that.
Never heard of
Bring
him.
up his Player Profiler. He will instantly become a favorite of yours.
Arkansas State.
Arkansas State. Look at those workout metrics.
Who does he play for?
It was Dolphins, apparently.
Dolphins.
Undrafted.
Oh my gosh. I'm in.
Everybody's taking their pants off.
This is our generation's Janis, and he's on.
I was going to say new Jeff Janis.
Wow.
Good call, Cody.
All right.
I wonder if he had disciplinary stuff because it looks like he got kicked off of Oregon.
Yeah, it must be.
All right, I'm gonna go do some research.
I would imagine if he got kicked off the team, it was some sort of disciplinary issue.
Well, we don't know.
Well, he could have just transferred. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The great TV is Davis looking up his rap sheet online and then listing it off for us. Oh, that's why this happened.
All right. We got let's bring it back to the Raiders. I do want to say that if you're not,
I do want to say,
drafting
make sure you're taking Marcus Mariota.
If you're drafting 150 Raiders stacks, you better be putting Marcus Mariota, a sprinkle of them, in there. Highest paid backup quarterback. You put him with these weapons.
It's great to finally get the siege on the Swolecast.
You're not drafting a backup quarterback in your best ball championships. You're just doing it wrong.
You got to get those unique combinations.
Yeah, like Cooper and Andy Dalton. That's another unique combination.
When do you think Siege is going to wave the white flag on the Stidham over Cam starting take?
He didn't last.
Buddy, he'll wave it like week 10 probably. I'm thinking after or he's just gonna wait for Cam to get hurt.
Yeah. Yep. Cam's gonna get hurt week 5.
All right, Davis, your thoughts on the Raiders offense this year?
Well, there was this kind of perplexing report this morning that Ruggs is going to play in the slot, which would mean that Bryan Edwards is going to be playing over Hunter Renfrow, which I did not view as certainly the most likely outcome for.
Well, some people thought that Renfrow might be leading the team in catches this year, just as a possession receiver.
Yeah, and I gotta say that if Renfrow is in fact not a part of their base offense, and it is, it's Ruggs and Edwards, that makes me more bullish on Darren Waller.
Yeah. Darren Waller and Evan Ingram are my most drafted tight ends this year. People just forget about what Waller did last year, it seems like. He's basically
I don't like Waller at all, really.
Why? He's basically a wide receiver.
because if you just go look at his splits with Renfroe on and off, he basically became Jason Witten once Renfroe started playing.
So with Renfroe out, though, you like him again.
Well, that would make me reevaluate my position for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So you have the offensive coordinator saying that. So.
Well, he didn't say Renfroe to the bench. He said we envision Ruggs starting in the slot. He didn't say anything about Hunter Renfroe. He just said we think. That doesn't mean that Renfroe can't play as well.
Do you know who's another target that is available late from Las Vegas?
Edwards?
No.
You guys Carrier?
Although you guys made fun of me for the Edwards pick in our
this is going back to the fake Superflex draft.
Yeah. Edwards was a beast at South Carolina, but no, it's not him. It's Tyrell Williams. You can get for free in any best ball draft.
Yeah,
like
but why
16th, 17th round.
Yeah, I mean,
as a big play guy, the Gazelle.
I don't think that's what he is, though.
I don't mind him in best ball, Dave.
Thank you. Not a guy you would roster, in a managed team.
Well, that is the thing. This whole offense it's predicated on how they use Ruggs, right? Like if that slot thing is true, that has a domino effect. If they're using him outside, that has a different domino effect. If they are viewing him as a lid lifter versus, a possession wide receiver and trying to feed him in all areas, that has a domino effect on it. So it really comes down to how integral you think Ruggs is going to be in the offense and where.
And if people that have been living under a rock during college football season and combine season, Ruggs is a very fast man. 4.27. So if they try to get this man the ball in space, try to do a little bit of a Tyreek.
Really good takes here from Kitchen.
2.0. I'm drafting Ruggs in a lot of teams too.
Do you like Ruggs more? Offense. Do you like Ruggs more than Shenault?
Yes.
Damn, bro.
I've got like maybe one or two Chenaults. I've got a lot of Ruggs.
That's what's hard for me is there's so many of these Wookiee wide receivers that I like that I'm just now trying to balance it. Early on I was drafting a ton of Shenault and Ayuk. Last night we grabbed a CeeDee Lamb share. The only rookie wide receiver I haven't been grabbing at all is Judy. But I do think Ruggs should be there with Rager where you're taking stabs on him in the 9th and 10th.
Yeah.
Wait, have people?
Rager's stock is going up. Ruggs is kind of staying where it is.
Rager just went at 804 in our draft last night.
That was a compromised room, though.
It's true.
Are people cooling off on the Denver situation? Is that what's happening?
I think the combination of it being perceived as a very crowded, too many mouths to feed depth chart and people's just absolute distaste for Drew Lock is suppressing his ADP.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like the hot take like 2 months ago. It was like Denver.
I actually still feel like they're going to throw the ball a ton, but that the main beneficiaries are the guys who were already there. I don't feel like Hamler and Judy are going to walk into 100+ targets. I think that we're just going to see Fant and Sutton. Fant and Sutton already had these relatively non-volatile target profiles where like they were getting like Fant was getting between 4 and 6, Sutton was getting in between 6 and 10, and then you kind of just add 15% to those numbers with some extra throws, going the way of the new guys basically.
And that's why it's so easy to do some of these Broncos and like Pete said, Dolphins and Chargers. It's so easy to get these stacks. I guess Jets too, because of how far people have these quarterbacks down their list, and some just are drafting 2 quarterbacks, and so it's going to leave these guys open at the end. Davis, you're talking about like bad quarterbacks. Like, can you roster bad quarterbacks? Or are you talking about Drew Lock?
I don't mind Drew Lock in these best ball championships. I think, the team that won the $1 million on draft last year was a Ryan Fitzpatrick, Devontae Parker stack. So clearly there are ways that can work out. I think this year specifically, though, what I kind of like is I kind of like getting one of Mahomes, Lamar, Dak, Kyler, Deshaun, or Russell Wilson with, one of their corresponding wide receivers, and then one of Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, or Joe Burrow with one of their corresponding wide receivers. I like those combinations of ceiling and price a lot.
Pete, where are you on the bad quarterbacks? Because you can wait really late now for some of these guys.
Yeah, I like doing the kind of polarized version. Like I did a underdog draft where I took Mahomes early for a stack, and then I took I think it was Garoppolo late as my QB2. But I do this year in particular, in all formats, I've been putting a priority on getting one of those upside quarterbacks that Davis listed through the Russ Wilson / we can maybe include Josh Allen there as well. And then going cheap and kind of avoiding that mid-tier is kind of what I've been doing. So yeah, I think you need the ceiling from those quarterbacks. And if they add that rushing upside, because this year we're not going to get the Mahomes and Lamar from the mid round. Like that guy just doesn't exist, but Kyler and Watson and Russ could have that.
Well, there is one guy to me.
Mariota.
I think there to me is exactly one, quote unquote late round quarterback who has the ability to blow the ceiling off. We'll say 1.5 with Cam. Right, because I think there are a lot of obstacles to Cam getting in the way. One, New England just playing this really gross ball control offense. 2, his health. But the guy that can go Josh Allen on us is Daniel Jones, where he plays that hair on fire style, throws 20 interceptions, fumbles the ball 15 times, but accounts for like 42 total touchdowns and has a bunch of 410 passing yard games because the Giants suck so bad and they're always going to be playing from behind.
But he's going in front of, in front of Aaron Rodgers in a lot of.
Aaron Rodgers is undraftable unless you take Devontae Adams.
Okay. You don't want Lazard.
That you can build in the back door, but you really should never be going into your draft thinking like, yeah, I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers here in the 11th round over all these good wide receivers.
Yeah, I will. I actually have a decent amount of Rodgers, but it is because when I get those back end draft slots and I'm passing on the running backs and I'm grabbing Adams, then it is a really cheap stack because no one wants a naked Rodgers.
And it's perfect correlation, right? Like Rodgers is never having big games with Adams excluded, right? Like it's kind of like Smith-Schuster and Ben.
MVS and Equinemius St. Brown.
Man,
games.
Don't even tempt me with the MVS stuff because like if I get a hint that he's like running with the starters or like playing over Lazard, like my best ball profile is gonna take a big hit
every week on DraftKings. MVS is only 3,100. He could.
In a GPP.
Dude,
more of a GPP play than anything. I want to take it back to Pete. You said Russ Wilson.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know who Russ Wilson is.
Oh, you mean Mr. Unlimited? The amount of teams I've drafted with Russ is unlimited. The potential for Russ to DK stacks is unlimited, Dave.
When I watched that video, it was
like watching yourself as if you were a famous quarterback.
It was so corny, but I understood it. Like I understood the heart of it, and I almost did like a dad bod video where like I was talking about that. But then it's just like that would just open up so many other doors. So
we went to Dairy Queen to get a Blizzard.
Just imagine being a Badger fan, and he is the only good quarterback we've basically ever had.
Well, and that was for only 1 year. Too.
Yeah, for 1 year, but it was one hell of a year.
Yeah. All right. Let's get some...
Quintus Cephas over Jonathan Taylor, buddy. Never forget.
Oh, bro. Legit. Okay, hold on.
Legit or a bit? Jonathan Taylor is as big as a house.
Yes, legit or a bit. I wanted to put this because we had that video of some oversized linebacker that they say is Jonathan Taylor. He looks absolutely massive. Legit or a bit?
Too much.
Too much?
Too much.
Okay.
Bulked up too much.
All right, Davis.
I mean, I'm team rocked up, bro.
All right. Todd,
Yeah.
Overzet?
I think what was crazy about it, so when Saquon came in, right, it was all about the quads, right? They were showing his quads and they were just these tree trunks. What, took me aback with Jonathan Taylor was the width of his like upper frame.
Yeah.
It was like SpongeBob SquarePants. He was just like a square. He looks like a Mack truck. I mean, that dude is going to be a problem. He's a grown ass man.
I know these poor teams in the AFC South that have to face the Colts and the Titans this year. Ooh.
Can he catch the ball yet or no?
Not as long as Hines is there.
He can catch the ball. In the bowl game, Tuttle, he had that one nice catch, and they're like, "Well, there goes his draft stock all the way up because that one catch that he caught. It was like a fade or something."
Who is more of a grown ass man, Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry for sure. But it's close. But I have definitely found myself on the GAM best ball squads. DK Metcalf, he's up there also with AJ Brown. I've got a lot of AJ Brown. It's the Ole Miss connection, I guess.
Pat Kerrane was trying to radicalize our GAM metric. We didn't appreciate it. We were trying to talk him into Gesicki, and he wasn't having it.
I mean, after the Hearns and the Wilson news, I mean, if you're not getting on the Gesicki train, I can't help you.
Yeah, you're just blind.
Another tight end that's really a receiver. So, all right, legit or a bit? Any of you guys have a legit or a bit questions before we get out of here?
I got one. Legit or a bit? Gruden actually means this about Lynn Bowden Jr. playing snaps at quarterback.
I'd say legit, knowing Gruden. He's going to try it at least a few times. And it's going to tilt people, especially people that have like Jonathan or that have Jacobs, where they are going to basically like anticipating their touchdown. And then he's going to come in the Wildcat, like on the 2-yard line, and Bone's going to score and vulture it. And people are just going to get so tilted. I could see that being a Gruden move for sure. I'm going to say legit.
I like it.
Yeah. I think they're going to use him. I mean, I got to trust Gruden here. I don't necessarily trust Arians when he says Rojo's a bell cow, but Gruden, he's a straight shooter, man. And he's just falling asleep at night picturing some tricky Wildcat plays.
Picturing Marcus Mariota, Lynn Bowden Jr., Derek Carr, all on the field at the same time in the I formation. You don't know who's going to get the snap. Marcus Mariota flipping it to Derek Carr, who then hands off to Lynn Bowden Jr.,
Mariota actually did that last year in the playoffs with the Titans when they beat the Ravens and the Patriots.
They saved their best weapon.
And then what happened?
Probably should have tried it against.
Probably should have tried it in the Chiefs game, right? Would have been interesting. Probably wouldn't have mattered.
It's a lot of draft capital if you're not going to use them.
This is a different situation with Lynn Bowden because people are going to be looking at this like, why would you use a wide receiver or a running back in a quarterback spot? But that's legit what he was last year for Kentucky. That's all their offense was the Wildcat.
I've never seen such a one-man offense as Kentucky was with Lynn Bowden Jr. last year. Like he literally, like we make jokes about the engine, but like he literally was the engine.
Yeah. So like he is used to that spot. So definitely going to go with legit on that. All right. FanDuel Salaries released right before we get these opt-outs.
I mean, is it the most FanDuel move of all time to be like, you know what, we could wait 72 hours or let's just do it now, right? Let's just get out in front of it. Opt out or no opt out, who cares? Let's just get them out.
I'm all in on this.
They might be thinking like, hey, it's not going to matter anyways, right? Because people are going to get it right before the season starts. And if we release it now or whatever, it's not going to matter. So
I've been watching Smizzle's TikTok videos about the salary release, so I know what I'm going to do.
Smiz is doing like TikTok videos on the salary release.
Oh,
yeah, he's outworking me on TikTok these days.
He's outworking Pete big time.
Man, hate to see that, Pete. I'm hoping that you're going to tell me it's because you are investing into Reels.
I'm not, see, it's so funny because Laird actually messaged me about this. He said He says, have you gotten offered to go over to Reels from Instagram? And I said, they must be starting with NFL players and working their way down to fantasy football comedians, because I have not gotten that offer yet.
Yeah. So Reels is basically just it's Instagram ripping off TikTok. But given today's environment, you can understand that. They also ripped off, people said that stories wouldn't work for Instagram or Facebook, because that was just what Snapchat was, and it has worked. So,
Dave, speaking of grinding, I mean, you've had a few little flurries on Instagram there, a little series of kind of dad influencer posts. Are you going to keep that up?
Oh, angling, bro.
I mean, it's out there for the taking. It's just like, do I want to put the work in for it? It is such hard work to post. Like, I was getting like, you get annoyed at some of these social media influencers, not you, Pete, because I know you put the grind into it, but like these influencers that you click on their story and there's like 80 stories for that day, right? And it's just like, it gives me anxiety. Like, there's no way I'm filtering through all these. I'm just going to swipe. But these people have to be putting a lot of work in there, because it takes a lot. You got to put the caption on every video.
I mean, I gotta say, of all the types of influencers, being a dad influencer, it's got to be being a wife guy or being a dad influencer. Those have to be the two easiest ways to make money on social media.
What's your definition of a wife guy?
Yeah, what is a wife
like
guy?
Guys who like literally their whole shtick is just being like, I love and appreciate my wife, and like that's just like their online personality.
I mean, I know that's a genre, but I wouldn't say that's like a very lucrative
that's
genre.
Not a money making.
No, dude, people like that is like just like being like, I'm a wife guy. Like, that is an influencer. Like, that is an influencer position that you can monetize.
You name
on Instagram.
One big wife guy that you know as like a thought leader in the wife guy space.
I don't do Instagram, bro. I deleted it. I guarantee you it's a thing.
I know the easiest way to get TikTok followers, and I expect Overzet to do this now.
Your kids?
The easiest. No. You get people to send you Venmo and you go tip these people outrageous amounts of money. That's the new thing.
The Randone.
Is Randone doing that?
He's doing it for his podcast. He's getting reviews and sending people $5.
Oh.
No. This is like, people are going on. They have their TikTok set up. They go through a drive-through and then they like tip this person $1,000. The drive-through workers. And people love that.
I think being a wife guy or a dad influencer is easier than that.
Hang on. What if we combine these two surefire success things that Davis have? So I go to Lauren and I give her a wad of $100 bills
there you go.
as a tip. It's so not only am I a charitable man, but I'm also
you're a wife
guy.
All right.
The deposit king.
We got to get out of here. Closing thoughts. Tuttle, closing thoughts for today?
I don't know. Hopefully basketball goes better today. It's been a rough last couple of days.
Yeah, let us frickin' pray, dude.
Let me know if
come and find me when TJ Warren goes for 85 again.
100% owned Jason Tatum gets 3 fouls in 7 minutes in the first half.
I had the Ben Simmons injury plus the Tatum 3 fouls.
Oh yeah, I had the Simmons injury too.
Yep.
That was good. That was good stuff. All right, Davis, final thoughts.
I hope that the batting average in Major League Baseball rises above 200 at some point, because 5-man stacks, let me tell you, when no one can generate hits, they're not very profitable.
Hey, you'll still always have that Millie win. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Peter?
Play on Underdog Fantasy. I'm looking to 10x my investment so I can screenshot it down the road.
I have a podcast coming out with the director of communications for Underdog Fantasy that is pretty interesting.
Cool.
Doing underdog drafts on RotoGrinders later today and tomorrow.
Yeah, we got some best ball shows, and we have we got we're ramping up the best ball content, premium and free stuff. All right, before we get out of here, I just want to say that Holly, love you. You're out there.
And, put that work in, Dave.
I don't know where I'd be without you. You just are the best mom and the best wife. And
this is literally how easy it is.
So that'll do it for this week's Swolecast. We'll see you next week here on RotoGrinders.com.